Hello everyone! For this video, we will be talking about experiment number 4, designing and making concrete beam sample. This video is presented to you by CE14E1, group number 1, which is comprised of Rey Aceret, Michael Adame, Danika Ajoc, and Charles Asio. The objectives of this experiment is to determine how to design and make a concrete beam sample. This procedure covers the method for making concrete beam sample in accordance with the ASTM C31 standard. Now, let's discuss the materials and apparatuses that were used in conducting this experiment. First up, we have the beam molds, which are 21 inches in beam span and 6 inches in both width and depth. Next, we have the tamping rod. The tamping rod must at least be 4 inches greater than the depth of the mold, but not more than 24 inches in overall length. A mallet with a rubber or rawhide head weighing 0.6 to 0.2 kilograms. Small tools like shovels and trowels were also used. Other materials and apparatuses include cement, sand, and coarse aggregates, sieve, pails, and digital scale. Next up, we have is the methodology. The methodology is comprised of 3 major steps, beginning from designing, next is making, and last but not the least, finishing.
The sample used to fabricate test specimens under this standard were obtained in accordance with practice of C172 or C172M. To determine the amount of concrete mix required to conduct the activity, the volume of the beam mold was measured and multiplied by the number of beam molds to be filled. The value was then added with the other experiments to come up with the total. The total was then added 10% of its value and divided into parts with respect to the ratio, which was 1:1.5 and 2. For the amount of water, the value for cement was multiplied by the maximum water-cement ratio for the Class B concrete, which is 0.58 in accordance to the DPWH Blue Book.
The mold was filled in with 3 approximately equal layers, with the third layer slightly overfilling the mold. Each layer was consolidated with a tamping rod using the rounded end. The layers were rodded throughout its depth for 25 times, taking care to not forcibly strike the bottom of the mold when compacting the first layer. The second layer was rodded throughout its depth, penetrating approximately 25 mm or 1 inch into the lower layer. After rodding each layer, the mold was striken 15 to 25 times with a mallet and spade along the sides and end using a trowel. Strike off a flat surface using a float or trowel and begin initial curing. Repeat the process until the third mold is completely done.
The experiment's goal was to design and make a concrete beam sample in accordance with ASTM C31. Practice C172 or C172M was followed to create test specimens. ASTM C172 gives the requirements and procedures for sampling concrete out of different mixers and receptacles used in the making and moving of concrete. The volume of the beam mold used was 0.0372 cubic meters. The slump was measured in accordance with test method C143 or C143M or test method C1611 or C1611M. And according to the DPWH Blue Book, it must only be 2 to 4 inches to have a desirable concrete mixture. After determining the slump, the beam molds were filled with the concrete mixture by rodding. Due to certain errors like not being able to take in account the moist fine aggregates and coarse aggregates, the slump was 7 inches, which makes the concrete mixture undesirable. The objective, which was to create a concrete beam sample, was successful. However, only 2 beam molds were filled due to shortage of concrete mixture, and a possible explanation for this error would be having a lesser amount of cement used. When doing the experiment, there were also concrete mixtures that were wasted. Overall, the experiment provided knowledge on what mixtures are needed to create a concrete sample and how to create a concrete beam sample.